Welcome to today's episode of Magnus Mindset Podcast, where it's our mission to help you grow in the skills, knowledge, and relationships to help you live your best. I'm your host, Tim Balo, and if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another podcast episode. Perhaps you've been watching a movie lately and maybe there was like a battle scene, the soldiers are in a desperate set of circumstances and, they're not sure they're going to make it out of there, and you have one soldier turns to maybe a commanding officer and he says these words, "It's been an honor serving with you, sir." Or perhaps you've been watching maybe more of a romantic film, a rom-com, as it were, and at some point that main actor guy, the Prince Charming, he takes a knee and he says, "Would you do the honor of being my wife?" I want to talk a little bit about this concept, maybe a forgotten virtue of honor. In fact, Aristotle says that you will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. Honor is a concept that is so deeply ingrained in so many cultures and societies in the world. Yet in the United States, it seems that certainly we have kind of forgotten this virtue of honor. It transcends culture. It transcends society and any of those differences. It's something that we certainly can be demonstrating here in our lives in today's culture. And while the specific definition, the expressions of how we display honor, those can vary a little bit, the underlying essence really remains the same. It is a foundational principle that guides our actions and the interactions with other people. We honor other people. Honor involves recognizing the worth and the value of certain individuals and treating them with respect, with dignity. It goes beyond just politeness or courtesy. It really encompasses a bigger, deeper understanding and an appreciation for the contributions and the qualities that those other people are bringing to the table. In understanding this concept of honor, it's important for us to realize and recognize that it's not about seeking recognition or praise for ourselves, but rather it's uplifting those around us. That seems to be something that's lost in our values today. We're always self-promoting on social medias. We're always self-promoting at our jobs so that we can get the raise or the promotion. We're always seem to be self-promoting to try to make it ahead a little bit. But instead, honor reverses that and sees lifting up those around us. We value others for who they are and what they bring to the table. When we demonstrate this virtue of honor, we actually foster more trust, more cooperation, and certainly mutual respect with others. And it cultivates a sense of unity, belonging, because here's the thing, people feel like they're seen, they're heard, and they're valued for their unique abilities and contributions. They're seen as real people rather than just part of the mix, as it were. So when we're talking about honor, let's just understand a little bit of what we're defining here. So to honor is to really value and to respect, to highly esteem, to treat as precious, weighty, or valuable. So there's your dictionary definition. It's precious, weighty, and valuable. And you might think of it this way, that if you had a fantastic collection, you have been spending years and certainly a lot of money collecting all of these precious items to you, right? They're weighty, they're valuable. You want to show that off. If you have a certain sports card or let's say a comic book that's signed, it might be in a case, it might be lit, it's in a showcase somehow so that other people can see that, because honor really builds up, whereas dishonor really tears down. When it comes to people, we believe the best and we value them, as opposed to dishonor, which really believes the worst about people. It devalues them. So without honor, we have, basically the opposite is dishonor, and that is to treat it as common and ordinary. So here's my question for us today is, do we want just an ordinary life? Do we want ordinary relationships? In your life, if you're dating, do you want an ordinary relationship in your dating? Do you want an ordinary marriage? When you dishonor your spouse, your significant other, then you treat them really as ordinary. Before we break this all down, I want us to just realize that respect, when it comes to that, that's earned, but honor is something that we give. Respect is earned, but honor is given. Not because you are honorable, then I will treat you with honor. Instead, I ascribe to you honor. And what often happens is that you become more honorable in that. We have been dishonoring people for so long that they don't feel honorable themselves. And tragically, we have a culture that really does not seem to honor. So hopefully in our time together today, we can discuss two big ideas with this, and that is to who are we going to honor, and then how are we going to honor them? So first, who are we going to honor? A couple different categories here. Number one, I want us to honor those who came before us. That would include, like, for instance, our veterans, those who have served and given a sacrifice of their time, even life and limb, as it were, for our country. We have Memorial Day is just around the corner when we honor those families that have given the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom of our country. We also are going to honor those that are our senior citizens, the elderly. We are respecting senior citizens because it really is a moral obligation, and it sets a positive example for our younger generations. You see, elders have a significant role to play in our society. They're serving as kind of guardians of wisdom and tradition. Their life experience makes them the custodians, if you will, of our society's essence. Whether you're from the East Coast, West Coast, or from the Midwest, they understand what life has looked like across the years. They have a deep understanding of, say, historical events or even the cultural values of those areas that they have grown up in. So in many cultures, elders are really highly respected. They're esteemed for their wisdom. They are considered and consulted for advice and guidance. They have insights that are really invaluable in shaping the path forward. So by respecting and honoring the wisdom of our senior citizens, we really foster a sense of community and social cohesion in that. It's really positive things. We also are going to honor those who are in authority. So, for instance, we would take a look at our government, those that are supposed to be serving the people, right? So our president, our governors, our mayors, as that kind of breaks down. And again, you do not have to agree with everything on a political agenda, but we honor the office, the position, we honor the role that that individual is serving in. And we also, of course, then those in authority, we would recognize perhaps our teachers, our coaches. As we get older and we have a job, there's our employers, our boss. So before we can ever really be over anyone else, we need to learn how to be under, and that is to submit with honor and doing those things for those that are in an authority for us. Never compromising our values, mind you, but we can honor those that are in authority. Similar to that, but more specific, we should honor our parents. When my kids were growing up, one of the ways that they could do this was we called it first-time obedience. When mom or dad gave instructions, their answer was to be a simple yes, mom, or yes, dad, and they were to move to that. That is one way that they could demonstrate honor as young children. Now, that doesn't always happen as they get a little bit older. We have to give more reason and rationale so that they can understand and develop the way that they think. But honoring our parents, it speaks well of them. And it speaks well of us and their parenting for us. And showing honor for our parents is not just something that we do as children. It's not something that we just do as teenagers, but we really show honor for our parents all the rest of our lives. And what if they hurt us, right? There's the big question. Well, what if I didn't have a great relationship with my mom or with my dad? You can still show honor. It doesn't mean that you forget the hurt. Certainly we should talk about offering forgiveness in those things and being able to move forward on your own, but being able to show honor is a wonderful demonstration to those around us of how we should live. And then finally, we should honor our significant relationships. How we talk to and about our spouse, our children, our siblings, even our friends. When we honor someone, we are actively showing our appreciation for who they are and what they bring to our relationship. Again, we're not treating them as ordinary. We are treating them as special, as precious, as valuable. We demonstrate honor in this. And this practice not only strengthens the bond between the individuals, so ourself and our spouse, ourself and our children, our friends, our family, but it also cultivates an atmosphere of really mutual respect and some understanding. When we prioritize this honor in our relationships, we really create a foundation of positivity, empathy. It allows for really genuine connection, genuine growth together as we grow in our relationships. Next part is, how do we show honor? I can rattle off a number of different things, and certainly you probably have a list. If I were to ask you, how do you show honor? In fact, I would invite you to make comments in the comment section here of the podcast, and how would you demonstrate and show honor to those, be it those that are in authority, those who have come before, or our parents, or even for your spouse, your children, and your significant relationships. I'll just give you a few examples. You might just pay a compliment, just telling them what it is that you appreciate about them. Not just what did they do, but perhaps about their character. It's also treating others with respect. It's showing understanding. We're going to demonstrate honor by being patient. We're going to ask questions, and we're going to take an interest, and that's particularly important when it comes to our significant relationships. We're going to challenge some assumptions, perhaps. We're going to overlook mistakes, and that's going to be true in all of our relationships, including with our parents. We're going to offer forgiveness when maybe they didn't hit the mark quite as well as we had expectations, right? We're going to show compassion to them and care for those people because, after all, they are precious and valuable to us. We're going to listen when they talk, and we're going to choose our words not just to respond or to add to their story. We're going to listen to understand. We're going to encourage them with our words and perhaps our gifts, our maybe an encouragement card or whatever that might look like, to offer a boost to them. We're going to learn from others because we're going to listen so that we might actually understand. We're going to help others, whatever it is that they're involved in, and perhaps it's not your favorite thing, but you're going to involve yourself because you're going to offer help to them because you're honoring them. You're going to find that common ground. This is particularly important maybe in the office place or other social gatherings that you're in. You want to honor folks by finding that common ground. We want to appreciate our differences. We love diversity, and we love, how interesting the human race is, all the different cultures and societies, and how I grew up and how you grew up, and we're going to appreciate those differences. And it really, while we can talk about our common ground, it's often very fun to talk about our differences as well. And if we're going to honor others, we're also going to be willing to accept help from someone else. There's times when I just don't know what to do, and certainly my parents or my spouse or even my kids, as they have grown up, can offer some help in those areas as well. And I can honor them by recognizing that they're precious and valuable to me by accepting their assistance. When we remember these ideas, who we should honor and how we should honor them, then we really reclaim this forgotten virtue of honor. Babe Ruth, that famous baseball player, when he had hit his first of 7 home runs, there was a contest winner who received one of those bats that Babe Ruth had used, and he left it in his will to his nurse, and she didn't know what to do with it, so she simply threw it under the bed for 18 years. Well, in 2006, that bat sold for $1.3 million. She used that money to not only start her own business, but also used the rest of it to start a foundation to serve children. And when she was asked how and why she decided to use the money in this way, she said this, that the bat was only valuable because it had his name on it. That was Babe Ruth. The only reasonable thing would be to do something that would honor him. When we recognize the value of people, that they are inherently valuable, precious, we can honor folks by showing them respect and care. We demonstrate this forgotten virtue and make our world a better place. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure that you share it with a friend. Again, remember to click subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the episodes of this podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.